came up, and it came up over and over and over, and I continued to try to improve my techniques of imagery so that we could get a good picture of what was going on, good measurements and this type of thing. Suffice it to say, at this point, I think the evidence is fairly well established that there is the structure that matches in all ways. You can go across the board. Eventually, it involves some forensic tests. You'll find a paper I did on forensic tests for the existence of hemoglobin. It took me 2 to 3 months at least to get through that work. But I truly wanted to know, did this match an erythrocyte? Because it certainly matches, down to the submicron as well as structure. Well, it has. All the evidence is consistent. So, any of us try to put these 3 things together in light of what we now have as a basis of structure of life, and ask yourself, how can you have a bacterial-like organism? How can you have an archaea-like organism? And how can you have an erythrocytic form, which comes from eukarya? I mean, this comes from blood, right? This comes from animals. How do you have something that crosses these 3 lines? It's never been, it doesn't exist, it never has. And so the point of this article is that the claim is made that the reason this thing has not been identified thus far is because it hasn't existed before. There is no basis of knowledge of this organism, or organisms, plural, whatever it shall be, on this earth. So how could such a thing happen? And I simply propose and suggest to you that a way, a method by which this could happen would involve a deliberate effort, project, involving genetic engineering to create such a structure. And as a matter of fact, to me, it is the most logical explanation. We understand and know that there is a tremendous impetus for the modification and alteration of life forms with genetic engineering. This is public knowledge. Is there any reason to think that these efforts are limited to that which has been disclosed to the public, purportedly for the benefit of us? There is no reason to think that. And there's every reason to think that there are, whatever you want to call them, covert or clandestine operations, to develop much more sophisticated levels of genetic engineering results than we are certainly aware of. Now, to drive this point home as being something that it's not just conjecture, but if you take a look, I'll try to bring this down, and I'll take a break or two in just a minute to make sure we're actually all still here. But if you take a look at the bottom of this article, this was sent to me right after I wrote this article. And we can call it interesting. Who knows why things happen all the time, right? I wrote this article on February 3rd. On February 5th, an article came out by the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA. Right? And look at the bottom of this and read what they say that they're doing. And this is in the open. This is in an unclassified budget that DARPA puts out about what they want to do. And what does it say? It says, as a part of its budget for the next year, DARPA is investing $6 million into a project called Biodesign with the goal of eliminating, quote, the randomness of natural evolutionary advancement. This is a publicly disclosed budget by one of the, if not the most advanced research agency in the world, explicitly stating that that's exactly what they want to do. They exactly wish to create an organism that defies any laws acceptance or denial of evolutionary theory. I'm just talking about they wish to break with nature in a very dramatic way. And I wrote in that same paper, if you look at what I wrote, this is before the article comes out. All right? If you read this line that I put in this paper, it is as follows. It's almost at the conclusion stage of the paper, but the statement said, it is very difficult to envision, at this state of knowledge, that this, quote, organism, unquote, for the sake of discussion, is the result of any natural or evolutionary process. Now, maybe it's coincidence, who knows, but it's certainly quite interesting that we have an exact parallel of not only intent, but even the actual terms used. And who knows, I try not to read more into things than they're entitled to, but certainly it is of interest sometimes to pursue why and when certain information appears. So that's the gist of that paper. I'm going to take a break for just 10 seconds or 20 seconds or so, and just let me know if we're still in okay. Do I need to turn down the microphone or anything? How are things in terms of our communication?
Yeah.
And I don't see anything. There's someone. You know, I was actually supposed to record this, but I didn't. So, all right, thanks. So it sounds like we are coming through okay. That's great. It looks like we're in from what I can tell. All right, now I think what I'll do is I'll give you choice. I made it through 1 out of 3. I'm probably notoriously terrible at estimating how much time I think it's going to take to cover material. And we are only scratching the surface, of course, on those, but in a good way, I hope. Oh, thanks. Okay, well, great. Lori's in there. Fine. Yeah, that'll be great if we have it. Thanks, Lori. Here's a question then. Would you like me to go over these other 2 papers the best that I can in the time that I have? I will quit pretty close to 8 unless there's really demand to do otherwise. Would you like me to go over this other paper, or would you like me to take questions? And I need your help to give me feedback to know. So you could either say questions or continue talking, or talk. You could just say talk or questions, and that would help me. And the more of you that holler, the more representative response that I can get from you. So I'm going to hold off for just a second and try to get an idea if you want me to keep talking about the next paper. There's one. Yeah, extend the session, huh? Well, short talk. Okay. Well, sure. Wait, you gotta give me more than short because I don't know what that means. I don't know what please. There, Lynn's telling me that's fine. Andrew, you gotta tell me. No, AP, you gotta tell me what sure means. I don't know what sure means. Sure what? Other paper talk. Okay, so I'm hearing a little bit of a mix there, and so somebody's all read the papers. Right. All right, so my take on what you're saying, and I think you can see that so you can judge for yourself. My take is you'd be willing to hear me talk for a bit more, and we'll try to compromise and get a few questions in also. So I'll try to mix this up in 20 minutes, and I'll try to do my best. I'm going to go back. I hope that comes in. Yeah, I'm going to go back, and we're going to pick up the second and third paper. And what I'll do in the interest of time here is I'll let you know that we can somewhat combine these 2 papers together, these last 2, Discovery and Proposal on Growth Inhibition.